are up to. And also for Apnic to share any services or any of notable activities that is relevant for NIRs. And as you can see, it's quite a small session, cozy, so please really feel free to, ask questions quite casually. And we do have a dedicated mailing list for this session. And, well, it's mostly announcements about presentations and the meeting itself. But if you're still not subscribed to the mailing list, you can click this link over here and be subscribed. It's open to anyone, so non-NIRs can also subscribe to the session as well. So just to introduce the agenda for today, we do have quite a full agenda. We have 6 presentations, 4 of them are updates from NIRs, and 2 of the presentations that are on the later agenda are IPv6 at Apnic and Future of NIRSIC. Those are intended for discussions. So for the first session for the first presentation will be from IRINN, and since it's the first meeting that this is actually the first NIRSIC that NIXI will be attending as IRINN after setting up the new NIR in India. So we are very interested to hear what their activities are. So Dr. Govind?
Very good morning. The NIR6 session here. Happy to Izumi, the chair, and Jessica, the co-chair for this session to organize. I'm very thankful to them. And being, as Izumi said, this is the first NIR from India, which we just set up for the last 1 year. I'm glad to make a presentation on the same how we went about it. So I will be structuring my presentation on these introduction, how the NIR was established, the formation stage, then the development of the software, then the features, the technical features and the policy features, and the structure, the manpower working on this. So NIR is basically, as we all know, is to provide the IPv4 and IPv6 allocation services at affordable manner, to have the services delivered in regional languages, services to be charged in local currency to avoid exchange losses and build local capacity. So this NIR has been established with the collective efforts of National Internet Exchange of India. Internet Exchange of India, as you all know, is the national IXP nodal points, coordination of that and management, and the data registry. And the third aspect which is started doing is the National Internet Registry, also as one of the division of the NIXI, which is be either to doing the IPv4 and IPv6 allocation services, and along with the Internet Service Providers Association of India, which is the largest ISP association in the country, which we all work together to bring this NIR in India. The Government of India, Department of Electronics and IT, the London Ministry, who is responsible for Internet promotion, is endorsed the operation of NIR to NIXI as a policy process that this will be a public-private partnership. So NIXI will be the right agency to deal with the NIR aspects as part of .in and IXP, which is already done by NIXI. Apnic accorded the recognition to NIXI on 3rd March last year after evaluation of its software to become the NIR of India. As you know, the software of NIR has been indigenously developed in the country, and it is developed by the Tata Consultancy Services, which is one of the largest and biggest software developer in the country and in the world, and which is having a very major stake in the country as well as in the other parts of the world in the development of software and its management. So they have developed the software, and which is one of the, and at its evaluation, the Apnic team told the executive team that is one of the best softwares ever developed an NIR in the record time. So that's what I am. We are proud to have the software development in India in this aspect. NIR software developed by NIXI and along with the TCS, and this is evaluated by Apnic team, and they went through all the processes, and they finally endorsed that this is the software which can be, which will make NIR happening in India. And we are calling the NIR in India as the Indian Registry for Internet Names and Numbers, IRINN. Like we took the name from ICANN, like Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. So similarly, because the name resources and the IP resources together will form the critical internet resources in the country, we thought this name to be given as Indian Registry for Internet Names and Numbers. The task of this IRINN features, this is the basically to delegating IP addresses within the India. Indian is a big country, and each account holder of IRINN is referred to as affiliate. We are calling them an affiliate. IRINN provides services to its affiliates. IRINN has its own software and ticketing system with My IRINN portal for providing the services. As My Apnic is there, similarly My IRINN is going to be portal, which I will be indicating later in the slides. Will be giving the complete system of ticketing system and all the features which is coming up in the IRINN. Its own Whois database which syncs with the Apnic Whois database. So this is all in the as per the Apnic allocation and the IRINN allocation are the same processes are involved. Portal is having all the features which are required for internet resource management similar to My Apnic. This IRINN features facilitates the allocation of IP resources to large number of small and medium companies within the country. Services to be charged in local currency to avoid exchange losses. Facilitate local training and development. This which NIXI is already doing with the help of Apnic, and I think last several years we have conducted the IPv6 and IPv4 IPv6 training processes in the country, and we conducted more than 2,000 engineers have been trained under this process. Organized local policy development forum as an input to regional policy development process. This is the feature which we have built into the IRINN, so that the policy development process within the IRINN structure and IRINN affiliates, they come up and suggest whatever the policy is required to be, time to time provide an input which will help in the regional policy development process. Provide support in local languages. As you know, India is having the 22 constitutional languages. So we have a large population which are non-English speaking. So with the help of IRINN, we will be able to bring out a local language interface for various services which IRINN will be providing. Technical features continuing, user-friendly modules for evaluation, allocation of IPv6 addresses, back office systems for managing internet resources and billing software, the NIR website, the help desk and chat facilities for affiliates, Whois service, enhanced security features SSL enabled, My IRINN portal for affiliates to manage the resources, payment gateways services, making online payment, and SMS gateway services for alert and other features. So these are all the features which has been built into the IRINN system and which is developed locally to see that all these features are up to date and is working. IRINN policy features, this is in sync with the global and Apnic policies. Whatever the policies there in the Apnic and the global ICANN policies or the INA policies on this kind of thing, that is what we are also in sync with that. Policy formulated with active involvement of ISPI members. These policy formulation and the development of that has been done the last several months prior to the formation of the policy development process within IRINN, and with the active involvement of ISPI members. Transparency bottom-up process for any policy changes. Affiliates have freedom to choose the registry. They have whether IRINN or Apnic, they have a choice for that. Help exchange affiliates understanding of technical policy features. There are training processes, there are the systems built into the system that anyone wants to know how the policy, how it is new IRINN is coming up, what are the features. So there is a dedicated team within the IRINN who explains to the new affiliates and they guide them to get into the system and know how to go about it. Develop local policies and take public positions in the best interest of the affiliates and to take part in the regulatory consideration wherever appropriate. So these are we are guiding the local affiliates also to come into in the public policy positions, forums, so that more and more such people are able to know what is happening around in the world and in the Apnic region, so that they are well versed with the policy development process, and if they have any issue on that. Evaluation process to be how to evaluate the affiliate. We have the same system as we are in the Apnic. To become an affiliate, an entity must submit its allocation proposal with supporting information and the supporting documents needed for IRINN affiliation, that is know your customer KYC document as per the usual practice worldwide. We are also adopted the same kind of documentation. An agreement is signed between the affiliate and IRINN which contains the terms of using IP resources. So once a proper understanding has reached and proper affiliate has understood that they have to get from IRINN, we have a kind of document, an agreement document signed as per the usual terms and conditions. Affiliates need to submit network diagram to justify their internet resource requirement. IRINN evaluates and approves every application according to the local and regional policies. Whatever the policies of IRINN and the regional policies of the Apnic, they both come into force and see how the process had to be evolved according to that. The maximum delegation size for IPv4 is restricted to /22 and minimum delegation for IPv6 is /32 for ILIRs and /48 for corporate affiliate in line with the Apnic policy. So these are the allocation policies which we are following from the Apnic. IRINN policy encourages affiliates to offer suggestions for improvement. So we have built-in features where if they can come out with more user-friendly features or any policy formulation which needs to make the IRINN policy more friendly or more evolved way, so we also encourage that kind of thing. IRINN is operational from the December 2012, and we are having today the 71 IRINN affiliates, both transfer and new ones, have joined the IRINN system. On an average, IRINN is receiving one request each day, so that we can have a sufficient number of affiliates by March 2014. So this is the IRINN operational from December till date. What are the numbers from the transfer case and from the new members who has become. This is our IRINN website, which features website. नहीं उसको देना नहीं, ऐसे दिखा देंगे. Just lost one. Want the PDFs? How you see the? Yeah. Just use that. Yeah. So this gives you the snapshot of the IRINN website. Featuring all the My IRINN and the affiliation inquiries, tools, payment modes, all the features which is required for any resource management. क्या हो गया? नहीं नहीं उसी को
Yeah, just only.
Okay. So this affiliate My IRINN portal to manage the internet resources or different tools in My Apnic kind of thing. Then the other users of existing account can register onto the My IRINN portal with access rights of corporate billing and technical. Users will be able to log on to the application after activation by organization level user. So these are the My IRINN portal features which is there in the system. This is My IRINN portal which gives the profile, change, password, the resource required and the many features which is required to be utilized by the affiliate for getting any resources from the IRINN system. Prior to that launching of the our IRINN in India, we thought to educate and make awareness in the country. So we went around, I think, several road shows in the metros to begin with. We started from Chennai, then we went to Hyderabad, Bangalore, Calcutta, Mumbai, and then Delhi. I'm thankful to Sanjay and Sunny. They also participated along with us in these, IRINN road shows. So one of the road shows is showing in Calcutta, where Mr. Rajesh Charia is here, ISPI president, and along with me and other board members of NIXI who participated in these road shows, and it was a very overwhelming response from the members, especially from the smaller ISPs and smaller entities who are SME sector. They were quite enthused to know that such a system is there coming up in India, so they would be more coming up. So this is another snapshot of those making aware and make education to the local SME sector and other companies in the IRINN road shows. So this is the IRINN team working with the management and then the network administrator, then the host master and the help desk. Thank you.
So I think we got a very good picture of how IRINN is working and started activities in IR. Does anyone from our floor have any questions to IRINN?
Is it working? Okay. Let me ask a very simple question. How many local languages are you currently supporting and you have a plan to support in future?
Yeah, right now we started with one of the Hindi languages to begin with, and then we will slowly move into other regional languages as we go along in the road.
In total, how many languages in India?
Hindi.
We've got 22 regional languages in which we are going to start into the 22 languages. Already into the .in ECKAD, we are launching 8 languages.
That is-
Because India is a very big country.
That sounds like a lot of work to do, because
Yeah,
like
yeah.
in case of Japan, we just have to support Japanese.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's hard enough, but then supporting
Yeah,
8 different languages, I can imagine that would be really hard.
So we have a language challenge in the country, we have to see that is one of the purpose of IRINN to come out in the country and do things in the local language. So that's the advantage, we can have our own system in the portal, and other education can be in the local language, and to begin with Hindi, one of the largest speaking language in the country.
Right.
This is not a question, this is just a statement which I am giving on behalf of ISPI and NIXI. After the introduction of national institutes and the smaller ISP, we were not getting any access through the Apnic due to a lot of issues like the foreign exchange, languages. Now they are coming to the fold of IRINN. And like the languages, what we are saying that in the different parts of the not with the product, but we can say that English is a big challenge in our country. But supporting the local languages, 22 languages. Big task which NIXI and IRINN and ISPI has taken, and we hope that whatever the support we have got from Apnic to get the NIR, and this is our first presentation into the NIR after becoming the NIR in India. I hope lot of this presentation will come and a lot of improvement will be done. And the biggest thing what we have done, the software is the Indian software developed by Tata Consultancy Services, is the renowned company into our country. Thank you.
Thank you for this information. I can totally relate to what was just stated, because same in Japan, like we have a lot of small ISPs that is not comfortable to communicate in English. They become our member, and they're happy to be able to communicate locally in Japanese. So it's really great to see that IRINN has started the activities and willing to do the language support. So anything else from the floor? If not, then I would like to move to the next presentation, which would be an update from, I have to see the agenda to see who will be the next presenter.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
thank you very much for presenting. So for the next 3 updates, I will ask the speakers to make presentations one after the other without Q&As, and then I will have a joint Q&A for 3 updates. So the first will be from Felix Jessica.
Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure today to CNNIC always holds provincial seminars or trainings to help the local internet service providers better know the new policy and the technique of IP addresses, usually cooperating with the provincial government department or internet society. In 30 October last year, we held a seminar on the topic of internet basic resource. There are 97 local participants. In the seminar, we invited experts to talk about the following topics. Apnic IPv6 training. We invited Apnic to give us a 3-day workshop training to those who are interested in IPv6 among our members. There are 30 participants. The training included basic IPv6 knowledge and related manual operations. Thanks to Changpika and Guangliang's excellent work as the presenters, the participants thought they really understood the course content, and it would do help to their future work on IPv6 development. Okay, next, let me introduce I need your help. Okay, thank you. Oh, okay. Okay, let me introduce IPv6 upgrading project which CNNIC is working on. The entire name is China Domain Name System Upgrading Project. As you know, domain name system is a core service on internet. Upgrading DNS to IPv6 is an important part of the whole IPv6 transition work in China. The project is under the China Next Generation Internet Project, which is a large national project driven by Chinese government with a series specific projects. The upgrading project is from January 2012 to December 2013. CNNIC is undertaker of the project. Dozens internet service providers are chosen as co-undertakers. After giving a brief introduction of the project, let me go into what the project does. The diagram shows the structure of the domain name system. The highest level is the root. It refers to FI and J mirroring roots in China. Then the next level is the top level domain names. It refers to .cn and .zhongguo. The next level is the secondary and the lower level authoritative. So instead, we construct the open recursive resolution service platform supporting IPv4 and IPv6, providing the free public IPv4 and IPv6 recursive solution services. The project target is when the entire project completes, the upgraded authoritative servers will cover 60% of the domain names in China. The upgraded recursive servers will provide IPv6 recursive resolution service for 10 million internet access users. The following 3 slides will introduce the more specific scheme of the project. While I will not go into the details, I put them there for your information. Okay, other activities. We are going to cooperate with local ICPs and ISPs to do the IPv6 deployment situation statistics based on Apnic IPv6 capability tracking model. And we have do some consulting for the IPv6 addressing plan and the network upgrading. We also do research on geolocation based on IPv4 and IPv6. As you know, the Apnic 36 will be held in Xi'an, and Xi'an is a very ancient city and has many stories. I hope you will like it. Welcome to Apnic 36 and welcome to Xi'an. Okay, that's all what I want to share today. Thanks for listening.
Thanks very much, Jessica. I'd like to personally ask more questions, but we'd like to move on to VNNIC update. And for those of you who have questions, keep your questions so that we have question time after 2 more presentations. Don't see one.
This one, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, you just use this key. Start this one. This one. Oh, this one. Okay, yeah. Okay, like that.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. My presentation may talk about you the 2012 report and plan for 2013 of VNNIC under the umbrella of an NIR organization and also the Standing Committee of National IPv6 Task Force of Vietnam. The first slide, I would like to show you about the number of internet users in Vietnam. As the 1st of November of 2012, last year, we celebrate 15 years of internet in Vietnam. And at the time, the number of the internet users we have is about 31 million of internet users. It took about around 30% of the population of the country. And this slide we would like to update about the number of VNNIC members. Even the IPv4 is exhausted, but the number of the IP member of VNNIC still increased smoothly because some of them most of them from the banking network or security. Yeah, that's so. Just the current policies enough them less 22. That's enough. Yeah, and this is the member category of most of them are from the ICT enterprise, but maybe we have a very senior the number of other, you can see the banking network, security company, the governmental entity, the education network, and almost some from the ISP and the ICT enterprise. This is the number of allocated IPv4 addresses in Vietnam. At the end of last year, we had around 15 million and a half IPv4 addresses. We see that it's just a small number in compared to the population of the country. Now I would like to move to the VNNIC. This is the number of the allocated VNNIC address in the ASEAN country. What a pity! In the figure you can see Vietnam almost in the bottom of the table. But look inside. What happened inside the country? I can say that IPv6 is really hot, very active in the country. Yeah, we set up the IPv6 task force, National IPv6 task force in 2009, and we issued the national roadmap for IPv6 in 2011. So that's really, I think the base, the core, the base matter for V6 is really ready to yeah, and from my point of view, V6 are running well in the country. Yeah. And so this some updates from some activity in 2012. What we do to promote for IPv6. First is the national the IPv6 event 2012. That's was held in May, the last of May and the 1st June in 2012. And on behalf of VNNIC, once again, I'd like to say thanks for our colleagues here, for VNNIC, for TWNIC, and for CNNIC, and especially for Apnic, yeah, for your contribution and the support for the successful of our event. And one more activity I'd like to update you here is about the study visit to Japan. Yes, on the last of November 2012, VNNIC under head of the Steering Committee of National IPv6 Task Force of Vietnam, we make a group to study IPv6 study in Japan. Yeah, and according to Mr. Kong, General Director of VNNIC, his biggest conclusion from the study visit is there is no killer application for music, which we was expected during the past years to foster the IPv6 progress. Yeah, but here from the study visit, my manager, he said that there's no killer application for music. Yeah. I don't know how about the opinion, but from myself, I agree with him about that. Yes. So, one more activity we would like to update you here about our first report on the Internet resource in Vietnam. In November 2012, so we the first time published the report on Internet resource in the country. That's maybe consider first data store about all kind of Internet resource that's under the management of VNNIC for that includes the cctld.vn, IP addresses, autonomous system number. Yeah, all they are under management by VNNIC. The detail of the reports you can see at the line I provide here. Yeah, so the next session, I'd like to bring you some upcoming activity about V6 in Vietnam. First, I'd like to introduce about yes. Yeah, okay. Come back to to my presentation. I would like to bring you here the upcoming activity about V6. First we celebrate the launch of IPv6 Vietnam IPv6 Day in conjunction with the National IPv6 event in 2013. The time exactly is the 6th of May 2013. and the location in Ho Chi Minh City. And the second, we plan to perform a project to promote IPv6 deployment in small and medium enterprise, ICT enterprise among the ASEAN region. Just share some more detail about this this project. Why we choose IPv6 is very easy answer. Yeah, most of you know. But why we choose ICT SME, choose the object of the project? Because you know, many countries have issued their own IPv6 master plan. However, we see that the country, the master plan, maybe to focus to the more critical infrastructure and maybe the major area of the industry. So somehow this may lead the lack of awareness for and the capacity for the SME in deploying IPv6. So we tell ICT SME need another IPv6 promotion channel to ensure them to keep updated with the general trend. So what we will do for this project? First, we will perform a multi-layer survey about IPv6 deployment status among the ASEAN countries. And then we will build up a set of recommendations and guidelines for ICT SME to deploy IPv6. As you know, on the long way to IPv6, do the SME need, they don't need to join from the first start, the beginning. Maybe they just choose some best time to join. Yeah, that's our idea. We think that, so may in all of you here, you have any idea to help us to do the project, to make it the most efficient. So please share with me, and I hope maybe in the next time I will update you. I may update you the results of the project. Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you. So again, please keep your questions or opinions for VNNIC update, and we will now move to TWNIC update.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I am Sheng-Wei from TWNIC. Today, I am glad to have the opportunity to share with you about TWNIC update. This is my today's online. There are included two topics. First, I will talk about TWNIC IPv6 promotion and activities. There are included Taiwan government's initial to deploy IPv6, TWNIC IPv6 training in 2012 IPv6 technician assessment, 2012 global IPv6 summit, and the 90th TWNIC IP open policy meeting, and the IPv6 transition implementation technical menu. Second, I will talk the IPv4 address transfer policy. Finally, I will make a summary. In the last meeting, I have talked about the Taiwan government's initial to deploy IPv6 because facing the threat of IPv4 address erosion and the rapid growth of IPv6 services, the government be the driving wheel of IPv6 upgrade is a good method to promote IPv6. So we adopt the smoothly upgrade government services IPv6. There are two phases. Phase one, we hope to upgrade the first half of public network services, such as web, DNS, and mail, to be dual stack and enabled on 2013. We hope in the phase two, we hope to upgrade the second half of public services to be dual stack on 2015. Yeah, if you can visit this URL. There are many information for this program. The government IPv6 services are 5,279 totally. There are 257 services systems for IPv6 ready till now. The growth of IPv6 service is slowly in this year because the government's IPv6 access is not ready. But in this year, the government IPv6 access service is ready. The IPv6 service grows rapidly. In this year, we hold the IPv6 training course. There are five type courses, including IPv6 basically technology, IPv6 advanced technology, and 3 hands-on courses, including IPv6 routing and firewall, Windows Server, and Linux Server. There are 65 classes, and there are 3,152 persons to attend our training course. We also held the IPv6 technician hands-on assessment on November 2012. The scope of event covered to upgrade IPv6 on Windows Server, Linux Server, and IPv6 routing. There are 104 attendants to join in. We held the 2012 Global IPv6 Summit and the 90th TWNIC IP Open Policy meeting. There are 300 attendants to attend this meeting, and we invite the experts to share their experience about IPv6 transition technology, IPv6 security, IPv6 management, and so on. In conjunction with the conference event, award was given to outstanding organization regarding their successful IPv6 upgrade. There were 29 organizations with excellent performance. TWNIC published IPv6 transition implementation technical manual. This manual is jointly compiled by TWNIC IPv6 program office and experts from the internet industry to assist government bodies, industry, and individuals to accelerate the IPv6 transition plan. This manual highlights basic concepts such as IPv6 addressing, step to upgrade to IPv6 network, internet application such as website, email, DNS, FTP, internet security, and how to activate home router to support IPv6. The next one is the IPv4 address transfer policy. TWNIC had implemented this policy in October 2012, but it is applied between TWNIC account holders, and there is no any case till now. For transfers with Apnic, other IIR, and NIR will be featured for consideration of TWNIC account holders. the detailed information of this policy, you can visit this URL. Now, I will summary my presentation. TWNIC currently focuses on raising skill of operators in Taiwan by training, promotion, and conference in IPv6 area. This IPv4 address erosion, we focus on IPv4 address transfer policy as issue to handle the transition phase. That's from listening. If you have any question, you can ask me in letters. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'd like to move on to Q&A for all the presentations that's been made from CNNIC, VNNIC, and for TWNIC. So I would like to add one as well. There actually has been a request from KRNIC of KISA to make a presentation at the NIRSIC as well. But since it was focusing mainly on IPv6 activities, it has been moved to IPv6 task force session, which I believe will be held on Wednesday, tomorrow. So if you're interested to hear what KRNIC is up to, please go to the session and hear what's happening in Korea as well and what KRNIC is doing. So any questions for each of the three NIRs?
Hello. Hello, Izumi and everyone. It's Paul Wilson from Apnic. Thanks to everyone. Just adjust this. Thanks to everyone for those presentations. It's always great to hear more about what's happening at the NIRs, and I think the sharing of information here is a really important part of the meeting. It's good to see the NIR issues being discussed, but it's also good to see the roles that the NIRs are playing in things like IPv6. And it's really good, I think, here to be sharing experiences and talking about how we do our work, and in the case of IPv6, how we do our messages, how we communicate. I just had one suggestion actually on the issue of the killer application for IPv6, because we keep on hearing that there is no killer application for IPv6, which is a sort of a negative kind of message. I've got a counter argument to that, which is, or a counterpoint, which is there actually is one killer application for IPv6, and that is the internet. And don't bother me with technicality. Well, that's exactly right. I mean, IPv6 is required for the internet to stay as the internet and to keep growing as the internet into the future. So I actually find that's in spite of Bill's technical objection, according to the layered model, I think to actually take that message that the application for IPv6 in terms of what IPv6 will do for us is to make the internet work, and that's a sort of more positive way to approach it. So that's just a suggestion. It may be useful to you or not, but again, I think this is a really useful exercise, and thanks very much for the effort that's been put into it. Thanks.
Don't bother me with the facts.
Yeah, continue regarding for the IPv6 issues. I think a lot of people, just like most of people presented about the IPv6 project also is looking for a QoF. I think just like the Paul Wilson saying, actually it's the internet. Some of the data to share with you, you will find out actually we did very little to implement the infrastructures. First of all, in the measurement index, what my institution is doing, we checked the 1 million most popular website based on the Alexa. right now only about 3% of the website have IPv6 services. That's mean the website, 97% of them, they didn't turn on the V6 services. So when you get on the IPv6, I don't know what you're going to do. You're going to see nothing. Second of all, if you look at the DNS, for example, the GTOD DNS, about 40% of the GTOD DNS didn't turn on the V6. So if you belong to those of the GTOD, you get nowhere because their DNS do not have V6 services. And also the CCTOD, 25% of the CCTOD DNS didn't turn on the V6 services. So I don't know where you go, you know. And so I think that is a several thing, you know, just don't expect and don't keep looking for the QF. Put your infrastructure ready, please. You know, if the infrastructure is not ready, you go nowhere. No, go nowhere, you know. For the user, if any general ordinary user, they don't care. They really don't care. I'm getting on the V4 or V6. When I turn my computer on or turn on my mobile, I want to get the internet to access the content. Tell me how I can access the content. Don't tell me I'm on V4, V6. That doesn't matter. I really don't care. You know, so I think that is a very important place. If I can, there's an NIR, tell the governments, you know, NIR submit the infrastructure ready, you know. If that is not happen, then I think it's still a long way to go. And one more data to share with you. Of course, based on methodology, whatever you did, you can have many different methodology. We do have one methodology. Of course, Jeff Houston have one is say announcement. How many of V4 announcement? So I try to figure out how many V4 actually using by, well, the methodology may be not perfect. But basically what we try to do is to look up the V4 address existing and see how many of them is really using, for example, email, website, or whatever, any application. And I have to agree, my methodology is not perfect. But based on our check for 3 times already, the average usage is only about 40% of the IPv4. So this is not a lot that the people put in the pocket. It's not using yet. So I think there's a lot of things we need to discuss, you know. And one more thing, please, when you're talking about V6, don't tell me killer app. Killer app is not a problem you are looking for. You are looking for infrastructure issues.
Correct. Oh.
Rajesh Charya from India. In IPv6, I think India is the first country, and especially from the government side, DOT, which has mandated to all the service providers to be onto the IPv6 platform by the end of 2012. And I can say very happily that most of the large service providers, especially the upstream providers, are now onto the IPv6. In regards to the NIXI, the dual stack has already started 4 to 5 years back. The IRINN website is also onto the version 6. And all the service provider of India is very much looking forward for putting the version 6 also for the users. And the demand from the user side is going to come because right now this issue of content and access. And when we are talking of 600 million broadband connection by the end of 2020 under our BBNL and NOFAN project, in which the government of India is investing around $4 to $5 billion for the project. We hope that the IPv6 will be very necessary for our country.
I think you will be the right one to prelude what I'm going to say. Naresh Ajwani, Address Council ICANN and NRONC Apnic. when I was making a drive for India to get NIR, one of the biggest motivation was engagement of government with IP version 6. My entire objective was, in case NIR is accorded to NIXI, that is a partnership of a government will get further engaged and in the process would do something in terms of setting up the infrastructure. That was the major motivation for me. Let people can have any other opinion in this regard. I rarely agree with Kuavi, but this time what he has said is something which we need to agree and really support, that it's we who have to go back and tell our governments, respective governments, that till the time infrastructure is not in place, irrespective of any dual stack, etc., and a bids, etc., really can't have the adoption of version 6 the manner we want it. Fortunately, I have rather two colleagues from government and a man who is really driving as a directive to ISPs, not as some kind of a advice or a guidance. It's coming as a directive, and till the time he will not bring a mandatory kind of an environment, this transformation may not take place. So good, Mr. R.M. Agarwal, a very senior person in Government Department of Telecom, is also here and would like to, substantiate or give us further inputs over how the government is getting engaged in this transformation. Thank you.
Yeah, good morning to all of you. Thank you very much, Mr. Azwani. Myself, R.M. Agarwal from Department of Telecommunications and National Coordinator for IPv6 implementations in the country. And this is my fortune to attend this meeting. Of course, this is my second meeting, Apnic meeting, and I'm thankful to Mr. Srinivasan and Mr. Pal for making me comfortable attending this meeting. So as Mr. Azwani told very clearly, the Government of India has released first roadmap of IPv6 implementation in 2009 itself. Then it was suggestive roadmap. We have just recommended our major service providers to provide IPv6 services by December 2010, and all government organizations were also directed to be ready by March 2011 to start getting IPv6 services. And of course, National IPv6 Task was also formed. And of course, having achieved considerable milestones out of these three targets, now we have already come out with the second roadmap, which has just been approved by the Government of India in just few days back only. And we are going to release it very shortly. So out of this roadmap, all our ISPs, not major, all ISPs have to offer the services in next 6 months' time. All government departments mandatorily have to have their infrastructure ready in next 2 years' time. And of course, issues as conveyed by some gentleman in this forum itself, but the contents and devices. So definitely our government websites have been mandated to be on the IPv6 is next 1 year's time, including .in services. And of course, as far as contents are there, this is the first major step. And of course, we are pursuing with all our content providers, services, and websites to be on the IPv6 in next 1 year to 2 years time. And as far as devices are concerned, I agree with all you present in this forum. Only 5% devices right now are in the B6 platform. So until and unless contents are on the B6 platform and devices are on the B6 platform, we cannot have the IPv6 services. So for IPv6 contents, we have already mandated for the government websites. We are pursuing with the private websites. And as far as devices are there, from 2014 June, every device which would come to India should necessarily be on the IPv6 platform. So that is the mandate of Government of India. So that way, because we are going to have more than 950 plus mobile phones in the country and only 35 million IPv4 addresses. So we cannot do with the IPv4 addresses. Each and every one needs to have IPv6 addresses. And I think same is the condition with most of the nations. So definitely we need to pursue with the respective governments to have IPv6 mandated in their own countries. persuasion will do, but definitely to certain extent. At time, it needs to be mandated. And definitely, India's example can be followed by others. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much for sharing the situation in India, and I agree with Narash's comments that NIRs do have very close relationship with the government, and we also have our own roles in promoting IPv6 as being introduced by CNNIC, VNNIC, TWNIC. So in the later part of this session, I would like to discuss how we can exchange information between NIRs in a better way rather than simply just sharing updates in the SIG. And I hope, well, since the time is limited, I have to move on to the next presentation, but I hope if you have any questions, you know the speakers, so you know who to talk to, so feel free to talk to the speakers who gave us presentations here. So thanks. And I'm going to Miwa. I'll give us a presentation about IPv6 at Apnic.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Miwa. I am from Apnic. As if pre-choreographed my presentation, I think it's kind of spot on, perfect timing to come in to talk about IPv6. It is really nice to hear what you're talking in here, and I'm very happy to be here to be able to share what we are doing in Apnic. And as Izumi mentioned before I come on here, yes, increasing the collaboration amongst NIR is such a good idea. Simultaneously, I'd like to be, as Apnic, to be part of that loop as well, so we can all work together, Apnic and other NIRs. Right. Okay, so today I'd like to talk about the things which are listed in here, V6 update, and the current Apnic key IPv6 messages. Then IPv6 at apnic.net and IPv6 at Apnic, and concluding my presentation by talking about way forward. So IPv6 deployment status by numbers. There are so many measurements, as Kuewu mentioned. How to measure IPv6 deployment status is not a simple task, because there are so many different measurements and so many statistics and data available. So I'd like to talk about the few measurements, and probably the best way is to measure by monitoring IPv6 deployment constantly with various measurement data. Okay, so next slide. Some of you must be quite familiar with this this chart showing the IPv6 BGP table size measured by Jeff Houston Portaloo site. As you can see, the BGP IPv6 table size is showing the quite robust growth. Year on year, in last year's 50% growing. The absolute number to compare to the IPv4 BGP table size is small. Previous one is like 12,000 versus IPv4 is 450,000. But probably comparing the absolute number of the BGP table prefix injection may not give us a good indication of IPv6, the growth size. Probably we need to focus on the actual growth rate, simply because it's due to the difference of the nature of those protocol architecture. V4 naturally more fragmented, V6 naturally more aggregated prefixes. So, but it's just a good indication, one indication of IPv6 growth. And this chart is showing the IPv4 versus IPv6 AS count ratio. How many AS numbers are announcing IPv4 versus IPv6 basically versus IPv4. It shows about 20 to 50% growth in last 2 years. And labs apnic.net data. It was quite interesting to learn Jessica's presentation talking about CNNIC's plan to emulate this labs.apnic.data's measurement in the CNNIC's activity. I'm very looking forward to see what kind of outcome CNNIC can present in the probably next NIR's meeting. The labs.apnic.net has been measuring the IPv6 deployment status from the end user's point of view for last couple of years, and it started collecting quite interesting data. To analyze data, it allows us to break down those data by AS numbers, economy level, and different regional level, and of course all over the entire world as a whole too. So this is one example from labs.apnic.net. The end user readiness of the world. Currently we are reaching about 1%. And yes, 1% is very small, but we again need to focus on the growth rate. You can see about 2011 October, we are starting about 0.2%. And we come to quite far from 0.2 to 1%. And again, 1% is world average. There are quite big differences from region to region, economy to economy, AS number to AS numbers. Some of the countries showing the very close to 30% deployment ratio. So this is just one indication. And next chart showing the Southeast Asia. As I mentioned to you, the deployment level diversified region to region in Southeast Asia, it's showing about 0.05%. And Southern Asia, about 0.02%, around there. I'm quite looking forward to Mr. Agarwal is presenting India's case tomorrow at AP IPv6 Task Force, and I'm very much looking forward to hearing the Mr. Agarwal's presentation at IPv6 Task Force tomorrow, and also in the future with reflecting those governmental support towards industry with clear mandate. That would, I hope, result into showing the actual increase of the numbers too, and certainly it should reflect to the Southern Asia's growth rate as well. So it's quite exciting to hear your future report. And Eastern Asia's showing about 1% mark. And as you can see, if you go to this labs.apnic.net, you can click your own economy and you can see the actual growth rate of your economy in the chronological base. You can also see the IPv6 preferred users by AS numbers. I just collected some of the AS numbers amongst ISPs. The labs.apnic.net AS number site contains the academics and other organizations, but I just hand-picked up some of the ISPs, network operators' readiness of IPv6. The number one is from Romania, RDSNet, RCS, and RDS, about 25%. And second one is free in France, 23%. And the third one is KDDI, about 20% from Japan. And as you can see, the listing here. So as I mentioned to you, although world average showing about 1%, it's diversified region to region, economy to economy, AS number to AS numbers. You can see the clear momentum among some AS numbers in some regions and some economies. And I'd like to show other data as well. This is the data from the Google. The Google basically measuring the availability of IPv6 connectivity among Google users. They reached about 1% around end of last year. And they thought that's a great achievement to compare to the previous slowness of the adoption of IPv6. And again, last two IPv6 World event, IPv6 Day and World IPv6 Launch, those two events in 2011 and 12 contributed quite significantly to the growth of the IPv6 adoption. So with reflecting those current situation, Apnic's current IPv6 messages, I would like to explain. Apnic IPv6 message has keep evolving with reflecting the reality of the IPv6 deployment in the field. So currently what we are focusing on, the key goal for network operators is to avoid multiple CPE swaps and migrations while they are deploying IPv6 transition technologies. We are clearly mentioning in our website and document large-scale NAT, carrier-grade NAT, of any other type of technologies to provide IPv4 to IPv4 NAT, i.e. NAT 444. Platforms are not a transition mechanism to IPv6, and we clearly understand some of the ISPs really need to deploy NAT 444 to extend IPv4 address lifetime. We are not denying that fact at all. But if you are doing NAT 444 only without having any IPv6 deployment transition technologies deployment, then that's a problem. That's the message we are currently passing. So maybe some of the NIR's folks, maybe we can work together around this area as well to pass around this critical message at the right time to the right community. And we also mentioned about the selection of transition technologies should align with the long-term vision of the operators. And having the long-term vision in this industry is a quite challenging thing. IPv6 is purely business decision. Lower capex and opex is the most important thing the operators consider, and we clearly understand it. We just, as an Apnic, try to provide real and tangible support to achieve those business goals as much as possible in this region. And also, yes, with presenting some challenges, that's important too. To recognize challenges is important, but simultaneously, I think we need to provide some area where ISPs and network operators can tackle. The one area we always emphasize nowadays, recently, is new networks of service providers are a good place to start enabling IPv6. When new subscribers coming into your ISP's network, you may need to provide a CPE. Those CPE definitely can be IPv6 ready. And service upgrade towards existing end users, existing subscribers, may be a good chance to swap the old CPEs with new CPEs with IPv6. I showed you some AS numbers with high IPv6 end users ratio. Those ISPs, the common strategy they applied to enable IPv6 is to give IPv6 default for new subscribers, and also service upgrade. They use that opportunity to upgrade their customer CPE with IPv6. And I think that is the workable, a viable option for many ISPs in the world. Right, so yes, also we are focusing on the IPv6 on mobile networks. If you see the Apnic 34 IPv6 plenary, you can see the presentations from the Verizon networks, wireless networks, and Shen Mobile and Alcatel-Lucent. We are trying to focusing on, once again, at this Apnic 35 IPv6 plenary tomorrow, IPv6 in mobile networks. We are having the input from the T-Mobile and a person who heavily involved with 3GPP standardization, and also from Samsung. So VNNIC representatives mentioned about their effort to focus on the enterprise organization, and that's very important area. One more important area I'd like to ask NIR's people to consider is, again, mobile networks too. The lots of smart devices coming into the market with quite robust the growth. It's growing very robustly. We really need to bring the attention mobile operators to the IPv6 as well. So along that line, Apnic providing some information from the network, the website, and the IPv6 plenaries in the conferences too. So please tune into the Apnic's message as well. So Apnic 35 tomorrow, I mentioned about this, and the IPv6 task force also happening tomorrow too. So if you are in here, please come and join us. We have input from India and Korea, and also many other different economies as well. Apnic survey 2012 revealed the collective input from the AP Internet community, and they mentioned about more trainings and more hands-on consultancies and best current practices information to share, and raise awareness amongst communities, and more facilitation with local internet communities, and so on. And Apnic and Apnic IPv6 program take this word on board and responding with clear plan. We are increasing more hands-on IPv6 trainings and providing engineering assistance on IPv6 deployment, and we are increasing more community outreach furthermore. So with reflecting those things, we basically relaunched our IPv6 website of the Apnic, and I'll talk about this new website content at Apnic Services session on 28th. Some of the website information, probably NIR folks maybe emulate or translate into your website and list as well, if it suits your message. So I think this area we can collaborate in the future as well. So way forward, the yes, I mentioned to you the Apnic conference. One of the Apnic survey 2012's findings was quite encouraging. Many people said, like about 38% people said, they come to Apnic conference because Apnic conference have interesting IPv6 sessions. So we would like to strive very hard to maintain the high quality, the interesting, useful, hands-on content for our constituent. So I think maybe around this area we can work together with NIR folks again, because you know the interesting deployment and real stories in your economy. And I'd like to outreach those new AS members who never spoke at Apnic meeting yet, would like to have a new speakers. Right, so yes, we talked about this already. Yes, basically that's it. And I would like to see any possible opportunities to work together with NIRs. We have done so far quite a lot of collaboration, but we'd like to continue this momentum. Thank you.
Since we have limited time for reflection, and everybody knows Miwa, so you can talk to Miwa after that. Okay, so let's go to the next. Okay, let's Izumi to explain the future of NIR. So hi everyone, this is Izumi. I'm speaking as with NIR chair hat to consider about the future of NIRSIC. And since the time is limited, I think we only have 5 minutes left, and I have briefly shared my slides in advance with all the NIRs. So instead of presenting the details of my slides, I would like to just introduce verbally what I would like to discuss, and then seek for opinions and hopefully continue discussions on the mailing list. So what I feel about NIRSIC is that I think it's very, very useful thing, as you can see that we managed to exchange a lot of activities and information on IPv6. But I'm not sure if we should continue. We need to continue the SIG in the SIG format, because if we look at the history of the SIGs, NIRSIG used to be one of the various SIGs that we used to have as IPv6 technical SIG, DNS SIG, our database SIG, etc., etc. But all those technical SIGs have now been incorporated into APOPs, and now you can see that they are like part of the technical sessions that's being organized. And then as a result, what we have is the initial purpose of having a SIG, electing the chairs and having all those formalities, was that it was assumed that we would have proposals related to each of these topics. So, for example, at Policy SIG, we have discussions and proposals on address policies. Whereas when we look at the NIR SIG, at the very initial stage, yes, we used documents for criteria of setting up NIRs or operational documents and things like that. But that has been done. If we look at the contents of NIRSIG, as you can see, for the past few years, over at least 5 years, it's basically informational updates. It is the same for this session. So I'm wondering if we really need to go through the formality every time of asking for calling for presentation, where I assume most of the NIRs are interested to make presentation at the session anyways. So make it like a default that all the NIRs make a presentation. And I'm not really sure if it's really useful for all of you to have an election every 2 years. Myself and Jessica being the co-chair. But since it's a small SIG and mainly focusing on information exchange between NIRs, we can make it like a, take turns to chair the session, like each NIR do it like at one meeting and the other at the next meeting, another NIR can chair the session to share the experience. So I'm interested to hear what you think about it, and especially if you have any concerns about changing the format of the session. So instead of holding it as a SIG session, just make it a regular NIR update session. Do people have any thoughts, concerns, questions about this idea?
I'm Masato of SoftBank. I totally support with your idea, because we should promote NIR activities more to worldwide, because during the discussion of WCIT, many developing countries expressed many concerns about current internet governance, but many of them comes from lack of knowledge about current IR operations and NIR operations, right? But actually, this region is very diverse, and all the NIR of this region is doing very well about resolving these issues. So I think your idea is very good way to promote activities of NIR. And also, I have one more request for Apnic. I think Apnic report in each region that would contain enough information about NIR activities. So please add more info in Apnic report.
Thanks very much for your input. So yes, I thank you for getting that message that we will continue to have session for exchanging information between NIRs, but it's simply that it's not going to be in the SIG format. So if I don't hear any concerns or questions about this, then I would like to suggest trying this new format from the next next Apnic meeting from Apnic 36. But of course, I will continue to accept any comments, questions on the NIR SIG mailing list, or maybe one for the next 1 month. Well, I don't need to set a clear time limit, but yes, for roughly next 1 month or so. So please feel free to express your opinions there. And then if no big issue, we will move to new format from the next meeting. Naresh?
Scalability is generally achieved by some disruptive kind of an approach. I think we really need a scalability in our approach. Out-of-box thinking or approach may help us for the same. If we can have a session which is devoted to this out-of-box thinking or a disruptive approach, or bringing governments together at one place to ensure that the entire network has a IPv6, some kind of a compliance, I think will make a difference. So my sincere suggestion is, let's have some kind of a session within it to think out of box or disruptive way to bring the change.
Thank you. So you're suggesting that we might invite government or think of ways to expand the way that we run the session. I think it's definitely an idea that's worth thinking and considering. So, well, I think it's a little bit short of time to reach conclusion at this very session, but would like to, think of ways and continue discussions on the mailing list. And plus, we didn't have time again this time, but I personally feel that it might be useful to have more area-focused information exchange. I think IPv6 is definitely one area that is really hot, and NIRs can share and exchange information. IPv4 transfer policy maybe, or more technical issues such as DNSSEC or routing security. I think those are the areas that we might share interest in common. So consider, I don't know if it's better to have it in a open session or have it in a smaller session that we share information between NIRs. So I would like to discuss what we can do better for information exchange and collaboration between NIRs and of course with Apnic as well.
Yeah, again, this is Masato. Also, many developing country has a concern about the cost of the internet. So I think it is very helpful if you can present the way how to minimize the internet usage cost. I think it's very helpful information.
So I didn't quite get your point. Can you elaborate a little bit?
Oh, in many developing countries, people say maybe people want to use internet, but it's too expensive. Mm-hmm. So usage of internet still low, yes. Right? So I think the low measure of NIR is also promoting internet in each country, right? But in my report, you didn't mention about this part. So that's my point.
Okay, so it's more like making the internet more accessible for general users, and you want NIR SIG to cover this kind of area as well. Okay, thank you for the input.
Miwa from TWNIC. Thank you very much to raise this point, Izumi, to be discussed in the colleague at NIC. And yes, that's the discussion is just left to you, but that is being of yourselves. So I will observe the discussion. How's the discussion going? And regarding the comparison, country to country is a bit independent topic from that of NIR. So one idea came up to my mind that it might be good to have such a comparison country to country in our region. Such kind of session would be quite helpful to that kind of consideration. That's my point.
Thanks. So it might be worth thinking as a separate thing, like what we do as NIRs and what we should consider in economy spaces. I think that's, yeah, maybe one of the ways we can consider, have a separate theme for the maybe separate session. I don't know, but we can continue discussing on this.
Thank you. Myself is Manoj Mishra from ISVI India. Just I am borrowing the point raised by this gentleman. And he has very rightly mentioned that this is the good forum where we can discuss about the growth of the internet. And he has very rightly mentioned what are the problem faced by the people in terms of the cost. Because we are discussing a lot about the policy and the implementation and technology challenges and killer application. And at the end of the day, each and everything is come about the affordability of the services. So it would be very good if we can discuss what are the challenges faced by each and every country and how we can face these. What are the solutions? Only mentioning the charges, what is the problem we are facing. If we can indicate how we have achieved this target by following the financial incentive, what the steps taken by the government or by the all stakeholders for that. So I think every discussion or every point, if we can counter the financial viability of sector product, it will provide us very useful information and future growth of the internet community worldwide for that. Thank you.
Thank you for the input, and I will continue to discuss with APNIC Secretariat on whether we can absorb that topic in NIRSIC, or we should consider another kind of session to discuss this kind of topic. But thank you very much. I'll just tell you what, I don't mean to say you'll abolish NIRSIC. It will continue as a sleeper SIG for a while, just as any other technical SIG has gone. So we can always revitalize this needs-based. And summarize what we discussed on the mailing list, and I'm looking forward to continue having feedbacks. So thanks very much, and sorry it ran out a little bit longer than it should. And again,